back here in Colorado. It's Iowa State week, but we got to start out with Coach Prime and his health situation. He's going in for a procedure today. And we were talking, this is surgery number 15 since he first started having those blood clot issues in his foot at Jackson State. Poor guy. He says prayerfully he'll be back tomorrow at practice, which he says this has nothing to do with stress from the job. It's just hereditary.
Yeah, blood clot issues that have plagued him for a number of years, and apparently it is hereditary. That's been a big thing. His trainer Lauren, has worked on his leg, for I think the whole time she's been with him, pretty much, to kind of get that blood flow going. And you could tell he was in a lot of pain. You could see it last Tuesday when he got to the podium, but you could really see it during the game on Saturday. And you hope that this is something that'll help him, not feel that pain. And but I don't anticipate, from what he was saying, sounds like I don't anticipate him missing the game. It sounds like he should be on the sidelines on Saturday.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce the procedure. It's a mouthful, but it's again with the blood clot issues, unfortunately. And so, you hope that's not a lingering issue, but it sounds like something he might have to kind of just obviously monitor for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. Blood clots obviously can be fatal, and they talked about it. When he had the surgery a couple years ago. You remember he missed Pac-12 Media Day over the summer. He had that surgery, and they talked about the potential of him losing his foot. And so it's dangerous. And so you hope for him. Just as human beings, you hope that they, forget him being primetime Deion Sanders and all that. Just as a human being, you hope that he's going to be okay, and that he'll be able to walk around and do what he likes to do.
There were a couple of light moments in the press conference today. I had no idea Adam Pac-Man Jones was sitting behind me. Did you know that?
I did. I saw him come in. He sat right behind you, and where I'm sitting, I could have seen him. You couldn't have, obviously. So I'm sure it was quite a surprise when all of a sudden Pac-Man Jones is behind you asking a question. It certainly lightened up the press conference a little bit. And another reporter was saying, can I request that Adam Pac-Man Jones is at every press conference, because he likes when he's here. He's in a good mood when he's here. So clearly they're close, and we knew this probably, but talked about how that relationship with Adam Jones helped Robert Livingston get the job here. So they've been close for a long time.
You asked about Julian Lewis and his development. Coach Prime said he'll be coming around the mountain when he comes. And when he was asked about Caden Salter, he says, I saw what you saw. He needs to get better and will. I take that to mean that Caden Salter is still the starting quarterback here in Boulder.
Yeah, he was also asked, how would you evaluate the play? And he was like, I leave that up to you guys. He also added that, these guys know how I feel. And I think if you watch some of the videos and read between the lines, we know how he feels. And there's frustration, obviously, but it does seem like everything that you read between the lines, everything we hear, Caden Salter's the guy, because Julian Lewis isn't ready yet. And, maybe at some point this year, maybe later this year, you get to that point where you go that route. But right now, I think it's clear Caden Salter's the guy.
It's one thing if Caden Salter is the main reason they've lost 4 football games. Yeah. To be harsh, I think that he was the reason they lost that football game out in Fort Worth. But probably only one game that you would point to at this point. And I get that Colorado fans are frustrated, and they want to, like they say, the backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on campus, and they want to build for the future and see Juju Lewis. There might be a time for that, but it's not right now.
Yeah, it's not right now. Certainly he could have played a little bit better against Georgia Tech and BYU, but a lot of guys could have played better. And so I agree with you. It's not on him. In Houston, he didn't even play. I thought, to me, TCU was the one game I was like, that's probably a quarterback issue tonight. That if you've got better quarterback play, you win that game. But I still think – I think you still give him. You got to give him through Utah, in my opinion. Give him at least the 2 more games. Let's see where you're at that point. And if Juju's still not ready, you still ride with Caden Salter. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. But they clearly need that position to be better, right?
Yeah. And that's not going to be a popular take, because I think Colorado fans, like I said, they want to see the true freshman, what he can do. And if they continue to struggle, that point will probably come at some point. So we'll see. And I get the frustration there.
I will say too. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like it reminds me a little bit. I know it's different, but like 2 years ago, Cormani McLean was here, and Coach Prime was pretty open about Cormani's not doing what he needs to be doing to get on the field. And Cormani even recently, if anybody watched it, he's playing really well at Florida. Said, look, I needed to grow up. I think it's in some ways the same as Julian Lewis. I don't know if it's the same issues, but like Coach Prime holds these guys that are 5-stars to a high standard, and it's like you better play this way or you're not going to get on the field, and he can't lower that standard just because the fans want to see the kid play because he's a 5-star. I think as a coach, you've got to hold to that standard and say you better live up to this standard so you can get on the field. And until he does, he's not going to get on the field.
We got a chance to talk to Dallin Hayden coming off that nice performance down in Fort Worth. If he can keep building off this and stay healthy, he could be one of the better stories on this team in the transfer portal era. And I know he transferred once already, but usually guys hit adversity and they're out. And so I give Dallin credit a lot of credit for Dallin Hayden, a lot of credit for coming here, going through adversity, sticking through it, and he was running so hungry on Saturday night.
Yeah, he finally got a shot. This is a kid that I think a lot of us might have projected him, if not projecting him as a starter, as a potential starter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was my projected starter. He probably thought that. And then he looked really good in well-off videos that first week or two of camp. And then all of a sudden he injures the hand and he's out. And so I imagine he was extremely hungry. He's been back for a couple weeks now and still having to stay on the sidelines. That's got to hurt even worse, probably, that you're healthy and you can't go. So when he actually got that opportunity, he looked really good. He had that big run that I don't think it set up a touchdown. It was right at the end of half, right? It should have set up a touchdown. But yeah, he looked really good. I'm curious to see Simeon Price, to Kalen Taylor, when they'll be back. I tried to ask Coach Prime that, and he says, well, we're good at that spot. I mean,
it doesn't sound like this week based on what he said.
The way he said, yeah. But he said, we're good at that spot, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, you are. And so they clearly got some guys they like, but Dallin Hayden is one of them, and he looked really good.
Also got a chance to talk to Keaton Wade, another good story, somebody that went from being a specialist to now he's out there on first and second down and graded out as their best player according to PFF this past weekend down at TCU. Everybody expected Sam Okunlola to be that guy next to Arden Walker. Okunlola's been hurt all year, so Wade's really stepped up to that challenge. He's gotten better, it feels like, as he's gotten a little bit more used to getting those game reps in run support, because you're kind of limited in doing that in practice.
Yeah, and he's making some impact plays, and we've talked about it a number of times, but like his big play per snap ratio was insane last year. It's not the same this year, but I feel like he's a better overall player. He's a guy that you can put on the field all three downs. He's making more plays in the run game, and I feel like I hear 27 a lot, throughout the game because he's making some plays. And the other thing he talked about, I asked him about sacks. They're not getting sacks. I mean, it's 8 right now through 6 games. They were really slow in getting those sacks last year, then led the conference. He thinks they're close, and it feels like it, right? I mean, there's a lot of times it feels like, man, they just about had Josh Hoover, but he got away. So he feels like they're close. And like last year, they came in bunches. I think it was UCF, right, where they got a bunch of sacks and then just kind of clicked from there. He thinks they're kind of close to that.
Yeah. And close was kind of the theme of that whole press conference, even going to what Coach Prime said. Colorado fans don't want to hear that right now,
right.
Yeah. But you got Iowa State coming to town, a ranked team, even after their loss to Cincinnati. You got to just start there and chip away one game at a time. And I know that's the cliche that people hate, but it is what it is, as Coach Prime said about his health situation too. It's just you're 2-4. You can't erase that right now.
Yeah, no, you can't. And they are close. I mean, hopefully some fans do want to hear that, because it's not like, I was talking to somebody before this press conference. It's not like 2022 when you went into every week saying there's just no hope. I mean, there's hope every week. I mean, this team they could have or maybe should have beat BYU. They could have or maybe should have beat TCU. They are right there, and so that's encouraging. They got a shot here this week. You mentioned Iowa State coming off the loss to Cincinnati. That was not the only mention of Cincinnati in this press conference, that's for sure. But Iowa State's vulnerable too.
Yeah, he's not focused on Shedeur Sanders' situation, is he, right now?
No. He was asked about as we were starting that press conference, news broke that Joe Flacco was being traded from the Browns to the Bengals, and he's like, I do not care about the Browns whatsoever. He goes, I love me some Shedeur Sanders, but it was funny that Adam Pac-Man Jones was there because he's a Bengal, and he's excited about Joe Flacco coming to the Bengals.